What's raging, gamers? Good morning. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
I'm doing good as always, Chris. How about yourself?
Hey, that's what's good. Hey, man, I am super blessed. We are in season 2, episode 3, and this has been so much fun. I mean, what felt like was gonna be a slow week of gaming news is just like blew up over the weekend, and I know we're very excited to dive deep into all the gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. But we always kind of like to set the tone, show you guys some goofy content that's been circulating around the web. And have you heard of this game called Only Up, HenricK?
I've been seeing some clips of it. It reminds me of that one game, similar concept, but just side scroller. I forget the name off the top of my head right now, though.
It's funny that you said that because, like, every time I see this game, and I could be so wrong saying this right now, fam. So don't quote me. It's kind of a popular game. Streamers are jumping onto it right now, but I think it could really work for the mobile device. It looks really fun. It's very goofy. But if you haven't seen it, oh my gosh, there are a lot of hilarious content out there right now. So let's go ahead and take a look.
I ain't gonna lie, I don't know if I got patience for this hoe. If I keep falling, like if I fall. Oh, I'm back in the spot.
It's a 3-hour fucking task.
Bro, oh my fucking gosh.
Please say no.
Grab it! Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Cooked. It's 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 cooked. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm going to jump off the side of the building in GTA because I'm cooked and all the work I put in is now fucking gone, and it's all because of this fucking dog shit game that doesn't fucking have useful physics. This shit is fucking ass! This game is dog shit! I'm fucking sick of playing this shit! It fucking sucks, god damn it! Fucking...
Like, what's the
man.
last game to make you do something like that, HenricK? I know I was playing NHL 23, and like they get you so hyped up, and then you blow it at the end in the third period. But
We just
it's
witnessed
hilarious.
a couple streamers just lose hours of gameplay progress.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, someone in the live chat, please comment during the show. If anybody's played this game, do they not have like checkpoints? Are you not allowed to like go back to where you think you previously are? You have to literally start all the way from the bottom.
If
Now
you
we're here.
fall, you fall. That's it. You're done.
That's insane. I know the comments were very active. They were making fun of Supreme Dream. He was saying, no one, iron workers during the Industrial Revolution. I wonder if they got inspiration from them. More people were saying, damn, he built different. Didn't even break his legs. Yeah,
That's true.
the physics are pretty insane when it comes to the video game world. And why did the bro shake his screen so much when he tried to jump across? Sometimes you panic. Sometimes you freak out. I mean, it's a little bit easier when you got that mouse
hit
control.
like an arcade machine,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Are we gonna have to start putting those like remember how they have like this heavy weight in pinballs, when you start to like try to shake the machine, you shake it
Yeah.
too much, is it gonna lock your controller? Do we need some of these kind of features when it comes to Only Up? So good. I love it, fam. And I know during the season 2 of Rage Quit, HenricK the Wreck and I, we discussed Apple Vision Pro, and of course the internet is having fun making fun of the new goggle glasses.
Remember, no rush.
Just terrible.
Yeah.
Anybody that's played that game clearly knows, that is the Call of Duty infamous scene where, you're basically gunning down an airport. The comments were active. People were saying, I just want a JOI of the virtual girlfriend from Blade Runner 2049. We all knew your intentions this entire time. Y'all are going to be on the naughty websites. We also got a comment that says, I'm calling it right now. Their VR headset is going to flop. Then they are going to pay a bunch of meme accounts to simply advertise their product. Then people are going to buy it. That's what happened with the AirPods, and I will die in that conspiracy theory. What?
That's an
AirPods are
interesting
all-
one. I've never heard that one. Then all of a sudden, they paid a bunch of people to make jokes about it, and that's what made people buy it. I didn't hear about that.
I know, yeah, that's a little bit different. I mean, I think you're gonna have to
Yeah.
take that to your grave, young man. And also, the last comment we got was, "Oh Lord, I'm on a plane right now."
Oh,
Yeah, that's
yikes!
not the kind of video I would necessarily want to see before I take flight. But we got a jam-packed show for everybody that's joining us for Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, where we discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. So, HenricK the Wreck, we might as well set the tone, right?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is the latest in Blizzard's action RPG series. The series has been at a low point for a while. The last game that was released was Diablo Immortal, which had very mixed reviews. This was due to it being initially made as a mobile game, which long-term fans of the series were not receptive to. But does the series have any new tricks up its sleeve, or is it more of the same? Let's start by overviewing the gameplay. The gameplay of Diablo 4 is similar to previous entries. You'll go through procedurally generated maps, killing enemies and getting experience points while completing questlines. Using a combination of leveling up and obtaining gear, your character's power will increase to better kill and survive the onslaught of demons. On your first character, you'll also be going through the campaign, and on subsequent characters, it will be optional for you. The big difference between this game and previous ones is that the game is now an MMO, or massively multiplayer online game. Previous games required you to add people to your party in order to see them, whereas now you'll more often see people in the open world without having to group up with them. And how is the story looking this time? This time, the story is following a demon named Lilith, as she tries to gain a foothold in the mortal realm of Sanctuary. Her objective is to gain forces to fight against heaven and hell, both of which have been in an eternal conflict. Her being the creator of Sanctuary, she feels like she has a right to dominion over it. And of course, humans are stuck in the middle. It is up to your character, alongside others, to stop Lilith. To sum up, Diablo 4 goes back to the feel of previous games prior to the series' low point, while adding in modern gameplay elements. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
Diablo 4 is a peculiar case of a game because you have Blizzard, who's been taking L's left and right, and then they come out with this game, and it's a pretty good game, but it has its flaws. The story, for example, it starts off pretty good. Like they got an interesting villain, who kind of has some things going on that are interesting for her compared to some previous villains. But then about halfway through the story, things just take a nosedive and it goes terribly.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, Lilith seemed promising. I mean, my first reaction was I'm a big heavy metal fan, so like I listened to Chelsea Grin's like EP Lilith, so I kind of got excited to see like this kind of villain come to the video game world. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really cool, really badass. And then yeah, as you start to say, you start to get introduced to this character, but this main antagonist is behind a red curtain during the majority of the game until like probably the final ending, which the ending is very disappointing in my opinion because it kind of leads on to potential expansions in the future, which is, I think this is the thing that's not being discussed enough in Diablo 4, which is this idea of microtransactions and expansions. This is nothing new with Blizzard. I mean, we know that they created, Overwatch and World of Warcraft, and they really want to bank on, the cosmetic gear to kind of, hopefully get even more revenue in. But I think that's been the biggest problem with the game is that they focus so much on all the visual details, the graphics, and etc., but that they kind of completely, crumbled a piece of paper into a ball and threw it right in the trash can. They didn't really care to bring you that story-driven content. Or it's just like, again, it's like when you played Call of Duty back in the day, like a decade ago, and they started coming out with these DLCs, you thought that was cool at first, and then you started to feel like, wasn't that supposed to be a part of the game that I just paid for? I paid $75 for this game. Why
yeah,
do I have to buy an
exactly.
expansion to finish the ending for Diablo 4? That's my biggest issue with the game.
Exactly. Like that's the same sort of thing that they just did with Overwatch 2, where they're like, okay, you know, the PvE with all the story-based missions, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. It's not profitable for us to just do that anymore. So instead, we're gonna, you know, chunk up what we did make so far, and we're gonna put that in a battle pass that you have to purchase
Right.
every season. And that's just ridiculous because it's like you promised that for that game, and then you're not going to deliver it. And it's kind of a similar thing with this game where, like you said, the ending just feels completely incomplete.
Yeah,
Where you know you get to the ending and you're expecting this grand finale, and it's just setting it up for an expansion. And then
exactly.
when the expansion comes out, you're gonna have to pay for for that continuation of the story. I guarantee it.
And think about what Cyberpunk 2077 wants for their DLC expansion. I believe it's $30 right now. You don't
Yeah.
think Diablo 4 is going to match that? I
Oh,
mean,
I wouldn't be
Cyberpunk is kind of
surprised.
testing the waters, right? I mean, usually most DLCs would be like 15 to 20 bucks, and now everything's kind of slowly increasing. You know, let's add another $10. Let's test the water with gamers and see if they'll even dive in. But to be fair to Diablo 4, the 5 classes are a lot of fun. They're really cool. I think that's what makes the game very special is that you get the builds and the upgrades are impeccable. It's really well done. But then
No,
again,
absolutely.
when it comes to the question of pause or repeat, I'm starting to think 50-50 because 50% of me is like I'd go back because I'd want to keep playing as the different classes. But then a half of me is like, dude, I play 80 hours into the game. Do I really want to go through this all over again knowing how the ending's like? For me, Diablo 4 is a pause.
That's fair. I think that I'm kind of on a similar page with you. Like, I have a storied history with the series. I grew up playing Diablo 2, you know, back when we even only had dial up. So if someone called us, you know, I get disconnected and, you know, have to start all over on you know, the grind on whatever part of the game I was on. But
Exactly.
uh, like you said, all the classes, they're pretty fun. I think they struck a good balance with the gameplay here between the more casual nature of Diablo 3 and
Yeah.
the more hard and, you know, tough experience that Diablo 2 is. You know, especially if you go back and play the Resurrected or one that came
Right.
out like last year. Like that game's still hard, and that's a selling point of it, really. But I think they made a good balance with this one, where it's still hard and difficult, especially if you're playing on that hardcore mode where you only have one life. Uh,
Exactly.
at the
So
same
yeah, I mean,
I don't think
but
it's gonna
the
be.
question for you though, Henrik the Wreck, is it a pause or a repeat?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't think it'd be a game that I want to put as my main game. So for me personally, it's gonna be a pause also.
It's a pause. I mean, just because we're saying pause doesn't mean it's a bad game. It's just again, guys, a repeat means it's so freaking good that you're gonna want to keep playing it over and over and over again. So
And
again,
hey,
if you're a big
maybe the expansion when that comes out, you know, it might entice people to play it again, depending on the
or it might
price,
frustrate
obviously,
gamers.
or that, yeah.
So, I mean, if you're into the action RPG, this game will be for you. But hey, keep the comments active. Let us know. This is a live show. So if you're jiving with Diablo 4, let us know what's good. But HenricK the Wreck and I, we got so much more to discuss on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So we might as well set the tone. You ready, fam?
Yeah, I'm ready if you all are ready.
Let's get it. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. As Microsoft faces legal setback to its proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard, the company's in-house gaming division leader, Matt Booty, sat down with the Hollywood Reporter, who oversees 23 studios and some of the largest franchises in the gaming industry. But one of the things that stuck out during the interview was Xbox hesitant towards augmented and virtual reality. The comments were very active with it because, you know, again, There's a clip that's been circulating on the web. We might as well let the video speak for itself.
With 6 teraflops of power, this is hardware built specifically to lead the console industry into true 4K gaming and high fidelity VR.
The fact that, literally the Hollywood Reporter is leading that, there's a hesitancy with Microsoft to even want to pursue augmented virtual reality. Does it make sense? I mean, we're obviously seeing a lot of people making fun of the Apple Vision Pro for how pricey it was, $3,500. Is it time? I know Matt Booty was really claiming that they really needed like 10 million active gamers monthly, not annually, monthly, to be able to convince them to join the VR world. Is it promising right now, HenricK?
I mean, VR's in like that weird space right now where it's still very gimmicky. And because it's a gimmick, not everyone's going to buy it. So you have technology like the Apple Pro Vision, where it's so expensive and partly because of the technology, but also because Apple realizes, hey, not everyone's going to buy this, so we got to make some money back. They're charging that much.
But then it was funny.
I think like I don't have a VR headset myself, and I'm not sure if you do either, Chris.
No, I don't. Yeah,
I would imagine that if you or I were to get one, we might play with it a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it's probably going to sit on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, I just think about my time when I went to Tokyo, Japan, and, there was a few, like, VR immersive, buildings that you could go to. And a majority of the time, even when I went, we tended to just skip them because it wasn't even there then, back in, like, 2018, 2019. I kind of view, virtual reality in this moment as kind of like the hype up of when you used to go to Mickey D's and they used to have a Nintendo 64 attraction inside the fast food chain. It's cool for the moment. It looks kind of sick. You'll play it for like 5 or 10 minutes and then you'll bounce the hell out. But I know the comments were very active during all of this. And one person wrote, last year the Oculus Quest 2 on its own outsold the Xbox Series XS, which is very interesting. Also, one person wrote, yeah, VR will always be a fun novelty, but until the tech is sci-fi levels where you don't need a headset, it will most likely remain more niche compared to traditional gaming as it's intrinsically less accessible. And when I hear that comment right there, HenricK, do you feel like Assassin's Creed VR is going to kind of be the peak of what is going to be, I guess, like the milestone that everybody needs to hit? Or do you think that they're going to have the same hiccups like every other VR game being released in the last 5 years?
I think it's going to be the same with all the same hiccups because, even though, yes, it'll be, probably a full-fledged experience and people will enjoy it, how many times are you going to, want to put on that headset to replay it?
Yeah, I think the kind of the creepy part about a good majority of a lot of these VR headsets, and I know the Apple Vision Pro will allow you to kind of see beyond the lens, but the fact that if you just like kind of close out, I don't know about you, I know I'm 6'5", I'm a big dude, but like you never know if there's a creature of the night or someone that's coming in your house and you're just like rocking the VR headset. That's always like my biggest fear when I think about those kind of things. But I know there was another comment that was here that said, if the U.S. Amazon stats are to be believed, Quest is currently on par with or even outselling the Xbox at this very moment. And I'm sure you guys are like wondering, I can't even see it. Well, here you go. I mean, it's completely insane to think that Xbox is talking to the Hollywood Reporter claiming that there's really no hype for a virtual headset. Well, clearly people are willing to pay $300, but I guess the real test is, will people be willing to pay $3,500 just because you want to, rock your, it's like kind of the joke, white girl wasted, getting your Starbucks gold card, you get a little pep in your step. Are you going to think you're all cool because now you got the new product with Apple and literally Meta and a lot of these other similar companies have the same, devices?
I mean, there has to be a first generation of technology for the technology to get better, but I think that this Vision Pro is going to be the thing that people make fun of. And hey, maybe that person who had that conspiracy might be right. Maybe they'll make, meme accounts make jokes of it, and then all of a sudden people will actually start buying it.
Trust me, we will pull back up
Unironically.
we'll pull that comment up. We will give that young man some credit. We'll actually DM you. We'll give you some credit, and then we'll take a screenshot if we start seeing them all over these meme accounts. But HenricK, what is going on in the world of Grand Theft Auto?
Oh, well, Rockstar, owners of GTA Online, they have committed some Grand Theft Auto themselves. Not
Yes.
in the real world. In the virtual world, they decided that they were going to pull several vehicles from Grand Theft Auto Online and put them behind a paywall.
Yeah,
Because,
and
you know what? We got to get some money for the development of GTA 6.
exactly, and I'm sure people are listening to you right now, HenricK, and they're going several. What does several mean? Does that mean like 10? Does that mean like 25? Does that mean like 50?
180 plus.
It's insane. Yes, exactly. Yeah. We got over like 200 plus vehicles and bikes that are now behind a thing that's called Grand Theft Auto Plus. It is a paywall that you will have to pay $6 a month. It's only currently available on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series. But like HenricK said, it's literally Grand Theft Auto, and the comments were very active over it. One person wrote, "The list of removed cars from the websites is ridiculous. Some of the staples and beloved cars are gone and will only be available whenever the intern at Rockstar decides to put them in the LSCM, Simons, or Luxury Autos. Screw Rockstar Games." Look at this list. This is really overwhelming in my opinion. It's very disappointing. I know a lot of people were were very upset. One person wrote, "I lost an entire garage of cars. WTF." Also, another gal wrote, "They should stop doing updates and release Grand Theft Auto 6. And let's just kind of like pause for a moment, HenricK, when we think about that. We know that there was the announcement of Absurd Ventures. The co-founder of Rockstar Games is now going to be pursuing not just video games. He's going to be pursuing movie, television, radio podcasts, theater podcasts, and etc. But knowing that one of the main writers for Grand Theft Auto 5 and the beloved Red Dead Redemption 2 is gone, and you start seeing some of these paywalls being released more and more from Grand Theft Auto, aka Rockstar, do you feel, because I'm starting to feel like the story is just not going to be as good as on Grand Theft Auto, and I understand that the map's supposed to be quote-unquote 2 times the size of the last game. Are they just really embracing more of the microtransaction online world? That's kind of what I'm feeling. I feel like they're starting to set the tone.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely can see that they're making the majority of their money off of GTA Online and the microtransactions that they put in their games. It does give you pause on whether or not GTA 6 will even be good, because it really seems like Rockstar is like fallen into being comfortable in just doing things like this, because they know at the end of the day everyone's going to still love us and still want to buy our products. When GTA 6 comes out, it's still going to be a bestseller. We'll see about that.
Yeah,
because anything could happen.
No, it's so true. And I mean, it's like what you mentioned, earlier in the show, these battle passes are really kind of ruining everything because obviously you pay into it monthly. I mean, Grand Theft Auto could easily do something similar with the GTA Plus. So it's like, hey, look, we got this one special gun that used to be in Grand Theft Auto 3, but you can be the only person to get it unless you pay $6 a month along with your cars. It's totally whack, especially when they expect to get $75 and up for their brand new game when it comes out. We also had a comment that wrote, "If you remove any content from your game for any reason, you are a bottom tier game developer and I hate you." He's got a great point. That is
absolutely. Speak your mind, man.
yeah, exactly. Totally unacceptable. And also, a lot of these vehicles you can get off the street in game. Others you can also buy through your auto shop, but that many cars is kind of ridiculous. I get that. That's a good point. Yeah, some of the vehicles that were on that list are not completely behind the paywall. But then again, it's like, what is this, Pokemon? I got to go catch them all when I'm driving around in Grand Theft Auto? I mean, I think that's
Chris,
totally insane.
You're not catching them all. You just, take out your wallet. Here you go, $6, and now you got them.
Yeah, exactly. And could you imagine being one of the people that, used your own fake dinero to go and buy these cars that are kind of driving around the streets in Grand Theft Auto Online and then wake up like those two gals, and then all of a sudden they're like, my entire garage is missing, especially when they just put that update like 3 months ago to actually have 50-car garage. I mean, they were setting it up for this paywall. It's
no, absolutely. I kind of wonder, because I had a coworker who, he might not be, involved in this anymore because he now has a kid and all that, but he was
it's because the loading screen's too long on Grand Theft Auto. He
has no time to wait for that.
He has no time to wait.
But he was one of those people who was like really invested in GTA Online. Like, he had a whole group of like 100+ people he was playing with regularly, and it was like a biker gang essentially.
Okay.
I'm wondering how he's reacting to this, honestly, because
and
I'm
very
sure
curious
if he's still playing, he's not happy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are not happy. We'll see how this goes. I mean, there are, rumors. Again, I'm saying rumors. It's not, 110% true, but there is a rumor with Grand Theft Auto 6 that they were trying to experiment with this whole idea of cryptocurrency, and that you could actually use your cryptocurrency inside the game and then take your cryptocurrency out of the game and into the real world. I don't know about you, HenricK. I like something that's got a face value. So I'm not into the NFTs or cryptos, but you might. But there's a lot of
right
other
there with
stuff.
you.
You're right, exactly. And let's also talk about another surprising turn of events that was happening over the last week, which is a popular Twitch streamer, Amaranth, and also, she's known as like ASMR and NSFW, like hot tub steams. I've never seen them. I have no idea why that would even be a thing. But she made the decision to join the rival platform known as Kick. And this is following a move that comes just a day after xQc, by some metrics, is Twitch's #1 streamer. He signed a lucrative non-exclusive deal with Kick worth up to $100 million, and that is more than LeBron James's $97.1 million deal that he got with the Los Angeles Lakers. That is totally insane. And if you have no idea who any of these streamers are, it might not give you an idea about exactly who they are, but we're going to kind of give you a look at their announcement video. And what was interesting about Amaranth is she decided to exit Twitch on her 7th anniversary of being on that platform.
In that time, I've streamed thousands of hours on Twitch.
Is this chat okay?
I've done amazing things. Things I thought I could only dream of.
Oh my god. Your channel is fucking trash.
And I never could have done any of it without you.
Twitch Star signed the $100 million deal with a rival platform. Hey, so the $100 million deals have started. Can I get one of those? Well, I think that's everything.
What the hell is Kick? Like, how did Kick become so freaking popular, and where's this money coming from? I mean, to put into context for everybody that's like wondering, like, dude, this guy just got paid more than LeBron James contract with the Los Angeles Lakers, and this is not long ago. I mean, think about what happened with Ninja. He got paid up to $20 to $30 million to move towards Microsoft's Mixer, which then ended up shutting down later in 2020.
He got his bag, though.
He definitely got his bag. But you know what the crazy part is about xQc is it's the key word non-exclusive. So he could technically be streaming again on Twitch, which he has sent a video out on Twitter that he will be doing both, which I wonder if Kick really even likes the idea that, even their, top guy that they just spent all this money on is literally sharing both sides of the pie. I don't.
Yeah,
really
it's a little iffy.
little strange. I know the comments were very active when it was coming to discussing this matter, and one person wrote, which is KSI. Everybody knows KSI, which he said, "What the F? This is like a football team transfer, but he can still play for any team he wants during the 2 years. Laughing my ass off." Fair play. There was also another comment that said, imagine trying to explain to someone who didn't grow up on the internet that a streamer got $100 million contract. That is my father. He still won't understand this to this day. It's all good. Also, we got this dude stutters and says cringe shit. How the fuck is he able to be making $100 million? Yes, he's been caught in the past. Kind of saying some derogatory words. Obviously, that clearly didn't stop him from being able to get a $100 million contract. But HenricK, I don't know if you saw this, but he got in trouble literally within the first couple days on Kick, which he got, you signed this $100 million deal and you put so many red flares in the air for the Fed agencies and the media companies out there. Legit, xQc could be sued for this stupidity, and he risked the sites he signed to. It can't be that hard to not watch movies on stream for any streamer. So if you can't tell what this movie is, it is The Batman with Christian Bale. And if you see that little message on the side, that was actually Kick responding to him during his live stream going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, bro, stop the live chat. You need to delete this video immediately, and then you can get back online. So then, you get people that commented and saying, paying people this kind of money is doing irreparable damage to society. This shit makes every kid think that they can become a professional athlete or gamer, making them dedicate their entire lives to achieving something that a very small percentage will achieve. And the ones that do will likely never see these kinds of deals for themselves. It's preventing an entire generation from learning real word and applicable skills. Same thing with influencers. It's already happened with gangbanging culture. All culture is manufactured. Bit of a stretch towards the end, but we understand where you're coming from.
No, absolutely. That definitely is a thing, because you look at all the kids growing up now, well, not all of them, but a lot of them, they're like, I want to be a YouTuber or I want to be a streamer. It's already happening. And then you compare that to other countries, because it's mostly in the United States that kids will be like that. But you go to other countries and they're still saying things like, I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be a scientist or a doctor or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's that same drama. I'm blanking out on what the gal's name is. She was literally on last week on the Piers Morgan show, and she's on OnlyFans. She's one of the top 1%, and she's going off about how she makes all this lucrative cash. But when you watch that, it's very similar to what you're discussing, HenricK. Let's not pretend that you could just randomly, like HenricK and I, who's getting this show fresh on its feet, could just randomly jump on Kick and just expect, $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 results right away. It just isn't happening. But there's a lot of theory circulating. I mean, it's gotten so much discussion on the LA Times all the way to the East Coast with the New York Times, wondering with multiple theories about how in the world is Kick even able to fund themselves to be able to even get these top, streamers. Because think about it, HenricK. We had metagaming. They try to figure it out. We had Alphabet, which owns Google, which Google owns YouTube, and YouTube Gaming didn't necessarily figure itself out. We also have Amazon's Twitch, which we are currently on right now, which they had a lot of flack. Remember, they just recently switched to the 70-30 revenue model, but we're not going to get into all the details, but you're going to need a lot of concurrent viewers, and you got to have it within a good time space. But the thing is, people are wondering again, how did Kick fund these people when they're considering this new venture as a loss for profit company, which is strange, right? Well, people don't realize that the CEO of Kick, his name is Ed Craven. He is the co-founder of a gambling site called Stake. And it is reported that, they're saying that it's not a partner or investor in Kick itself, but, the PR company is saying that, Kick is going to operate itself as a loss, which is like normal for a startup. But that is sort of strange. My theory that when I heard that he's the co-founder of a gambling site called Stake, HenricK, is they're probably funding this with gambling money.
Oh, no, absolutely. Like you said, they're thinking that this is gonna be a lost profit for them because when you think about all these platforms, YouTube, Twitch, even Kick themselves, they're hosting so many things for people for free because you can sign up and just stream, or on YouTube you can upload however much you want. There's no limit to it so long as your internet provider doesn't limit you. But it's a lot of money, really. And even Google, who owns YouTube, hasn't really made a profit on YouTube at all in the entire time that they've owned them. So at the end of the day, if Kick comes in and decides to be a person that's going to shake up the industry of the streaming sites, I mean, they got to have their money coming from somewhere. And what's a thing that makes a lot of money? Well, gambling does. And if you go on Kick's website, especially compared to like Twitch, just had a whole gambling problem recently that like a few months ago, that was this whole debate on whether or not there should be even any gambling allowed on the site. And I think they do allow some gambling now, but there was this whole debate about it because a lot of the demographic that goes on Twitch and these streaming sites are kids, because they're wanting to watch their favorite streamer, and their favorite streamer might just be gambling for whatever reason because that's what's pulling in viewers. But the concern was just with like how loot boxes in games got outlawed in Europe. How is this affecting people's gambling addictions when they're watching someone who they really enjoyed, really look up to gambling? They might want to do it themselves when they grow up, because they're not going to be old enough necessarily right away, but they might want to, do that. And Kick owning a gambling website, they have the resources right there for you. So it's kind of like a pipeline from, you watch your favorite streamer gambling on Kick, and here you go. Here's a way to gamble online. You don't even need to leave your house.
Yeah, it's very true. And then obviously, if you're the owner of co-founder of Stake, you're going to be obviously trying to push your online gambling site more onto, a live stream service like Kick. So yeah, and I mean, it's just kind of frustrating, to know that, they're considering this as a loss for profit. And then gosh knows, 3 or 4 years down the line, they're going to pull, Microsoft move like Mixer and have to go bankrupt. And then what is our taxpayer dollars going to have to cover their ass for doing something that clearly is going to fail? And also think about it. When xQc's announcement went out and he did his very first stream on Kick, the site completely crashed right away. So people don't realize, the cloud interface and the infrastructure of the supercomputers that Amazon owns is currently being operated with the U.S. government. Right? They have a licensing contract to be able to use their supercomputers. Kick doesn't have that. Okay? So it goes back to that point again. Amazon's got the infrastructure. They can't quite figure out how to do the whole streaming revenue. So why is Kick the promising revenue? I guess we're going to have to see what's good. But I mean, if this is for you, this might be the place. But hey, we'll have to see what's good. But hey,
there's always like a thing in the air of like, oh, this is a new platform, it's a new frontier, people can get a lot of viewers because no one's really on there yet, so if you make good content. But then it's like you go on there and like you said earlier, you can't go into that expecting that, because it's probably not going to happen most likely.
Yeah, that's like trying to Kick, like the analogy of Kick right now is like using the Bing search bar. You're gonna go straight to Google, right? I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, that's my final thought. Unless you got anything else you want to say, HenricK.
No, that's all. I mean, it's just a gold rush. Essentially,
it's definitely
right
a gold
now.
rush. But hey, keep a look. I mean, Rumble's kind of, it took them some time to kind of become the rival to YouTube. So you never know. But I'm not sold quite yet. But hey, what's going on with today? I know a lot of people are excited to kind of get the the preloadings going for a very popular game. What is that, HenricK?
Oh, well, if you have a PS5, you might have been looking forward to this game because this is a highly anticipated game from this year, and it's Final Fantasy 16. So it's finally being able to be preloaded today, and it'll come out in another couple days. And that game, being as highly anticipated as it is.
Before we talk about that, let's kind of lead, right? Do we want to show some gameplay? I got some.
Oh, yeah,
sure. Go ahead and show the people what's good. All right, let's go ahead and throw that up. Oh, shoot.
You know, it's crazy. Every time I see gameplay for that
awesome.
game, it always looks so good. And it's so similar to Devil May Cry 5, which is one of my favorite games.
And I know you've been hyping him up, and I don't mean to cut you off, man, but there was an awesome interview with the battle game director for Final Fantasy 16 who worked on the Devil May Cry 5 video game. And he literally saying with his own words, Suzuki, this is my personal favorite. Very strong words. But then go ahead, because there's a little bit of drama going on, though. You know, some gamers are not necessarily happy. What's going on?
It's the whole dilemma with big AAA games right now that are large in scale. They're also large in install file size. This game is going to be about 90 gigabytes on your drive, whether it be a console or a PC. And
right now it's only going to be on the PlayStation 5. Because remember, it's an exclusive
PC,
game.
It's not going to come out until the end of the year, literally the last day of the year. But it makes me, really wonder how many people are going to have to delete things in order to actually install this game. Like, for example, even a game like Street Fighter 6 that just came out. This guy comes into work. He's like, "Oh, do you have the Street Fighter 6?" I'm like, sorry, man. Like, we're all out of the physical copy." He's like, it's all right. Who needs Netflix, right? Because he was going to delete Netflix in order to actually play the game. How many people are going to have to do a similar thing? They have to delete some apps or some games. But it's like, if you have a 500 gigabyte console and you're already having games at this size, you can only have like 3 or 4 games installed, and then you're full. Then you have to delete something to install another thing.
Yeah, that's the biggest frustration. I absolutely understand where you're coming from, HenricK. When I was on the PlayStation 4, that was the biggest thing. We had a 500 gigabyte, storage. And then, when you got 3 brothers, everybody's going to be wanting to play all different kinds of styles of games, because not everybody's going to be playing the game that you love. Everybody wants to venture off and do something different, whether it's, sports games, which could be very massive in file size, to even very story-driven games. And that's why we had to actually buy an external hard drive that's licensed with PlayStation, which is a 2 terabyte. And I can't remember how much I spent at the time, but still, it's like, you don't want to do those kind of things. And I know people were active in the comments. One person wrote, not really a big deal. He kind of debating you a little bit, HenricK. He's saying not really a big deal. I mean, a standard PS5 can fit like 8 games of that size on there, right? So who's going to be playing 8 games of this size at once? What do you say to that?
I mean, the thing is, though, like, if they weren't taking up that much space, you'd be able to play even more things.
Right.
I always feel because like the previous generations, I mean, they had to load everything from the CD, and it was kind of like a bottleneck a little bit. But I don't know. I feel like, yes, solid state drive prices are going down, but game install sizes are going to continue to go up as well. Like, it's just going to be a constant balance.
Well, think about what he just said. He said 8 games. It's not a big deal, right? Well, I'm trying to think of my go-to games, right? I love playing Fortnite. I'll play some Apex Legends. I like sports games, so I'll play Madden. I'll play NHL. I'll play the soccer. I'll play basketball. That's already 6 right there. All right? And what? So I only have room for 2 story games? Like, that's insane. I like Fall Guys. I know it's not that big in file size, but you get the point. It's totally insane. It can really add up. So I don't know. I think you're right on that one, HenricK. I don't think that's a fair assessment to say it's only 8 games. It should be no problem. Nah, that's a big issue. And also, one guy wrote, I pre-ordered it digitally the second I finished the demo. I'm not a computer technology guy, but I find it really weird that an older Call of Duty can be over 100 gigabytes while the Final Fantasy 16 is only 90 gigabytes. At least that's 100 gigabytes. It's a nice free space for a better game to go into now, which that's a very good point. And lastly, not bad considering how Jedi Survivor is 160 gigabytes. That's 4 terabyte SS upgrade was totally worth it. So again, like, is this gonna be the new standard where we're gonna continuously see games that are just gonna be eating up your console?
No, I think so. And then especially he brings up Call of Duty. I think that Call of Duty in a way kind of wants to do that because they don't want you to be playing other games. You know, they want you to buy their battle pass, install
Exactly.
their game, and just play that, nothing else.
That's actually a really great point. Yeah, it really does kind of play like a psychological thing in your head where you're like, oh man, dude, I haven't been playing it for 2 weeks, but you know that new update's coming. I might want to hold on to it for a little bit longer, even though it takes up like a sixth of your storage space, on your gaming console. It's totally insane. And yeah, I mean, we're all getting pegged for this. And, originally Final Fantasy 16 did say that they almost turned the physical copy into 2 different discs. And I guess the power of the PS5 compression is incredible, but still,
Well, they're doing that with the next part of Final Fantasy VII Remake. They've already announced that they're going to split it into 2 discs.
I know.
So imagine how big that one's going to be. If this one's at 90 gigs on 1 disc, that's going to be a lot.
I'm just always amazed that we're still in 2023 doing 2 discs to make a game. It's like the Cyberpunk 2077. I didn't play it on the PS5. I played it on the PS4 when I first got it, but I was like, wow, this is pretty freaking insane. But you know what's also insane? There's another game that's actually taking, the Steam world by waves. I mean, it's like a tsunami. I'm just so freaking amazed that this one game is captivating gamers all across the world. And this game's called BattleBit Remastered. It is a blocky shooter made by just 4 people. It has skyrocketed to the top of Steam's top sellers list, which is freaking incredible. But it's important to note how Steam views or ranks themselves when it comes to like how they do the listing. They do it by the top sellers by revenue, okay? So it's not by how many copies have been sold. So with that being said, let's go ahead and show you guys some gameplay trailer of BattleBit Remastered. That is BattleBit Remastered. It's going about $15 right now on the Steam store. And the comments were cool. I mean, one person wrote, I can confirm that BattleBit Remastered is simply better than anything the Battlefield franchise has vomited up recently. I haven't played this game yet, but I have a hard time believing that comment. I personally, HenricK, feel like the backlash for Battlefield 2042 is not warranted. Yes, in the beginning, it had a terrible first year, like so many bugs, a lot of glitches. It's totally unacceptable. But then later down the road, they fixed a lot of good majority of that kind of stuff where, if you get lucky to have like EA Play like I do and didn't pay for the game, on day one, who the hell buys anything, majority on day one, even though we're hosting a video game talk show, because of the patch notes. I mean, it's just, it's totally insane how, like, again, we talk about this all the time. There's a lot of games that always come out and they're never finished the day they release. And so what I'm trying to say is when Battlefield 2042 finally became the game that it was supposed to be, it's really not that bad overall. But then there's another comment.
I've heard that, but I still think, when a game doesn't meet expectations at launch, it's not going to ever survive, really, unless it really, really is able to pull back people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I feel like their online community right now is literally the people that are a part of that subscription service like myself, EA Play. Again, so I can be able to play the sports game. And it's like, oh cool. I heard this game was getting a lot of crap. I guess I'll play it. And then I play it and I'm like, it's actually pretty fun. I don't know. Maybe I got lucky to miss all the BS, So I know one comment wrote, BattleBit Remastered has amazing movement, and if you don't like it, then it's simply just a skill issue. Why does everybody always say that? Why does everybody always say that, it's got amazing movement? Why? Does it have to do with anything that the graphics might be a little blocky instead of a simple skill issue? We also had one person wrote, who's playing BattleBit Remastered? It's the Battlefield that Battlefield 2042 wishes it ever was, shitty stylized visuals aside. Interesting, because every time I looked at this, I thought of Roblox, and there's a lot of modders out there that'd be kind of creating kind of similar things like BattleBit Remastered. But what I think is really cool about this game is you can have up to 254 players in one lobby in one map at the same time, and they have proximity chat, which that means you can actually hear everybody. So like if you're like in a building, you might hear like 20 or 25 people in your ear if there's that many people, in that one certain location. So is this a game for you, HenricK? I mean, clearly it's doing wonders, as you can see on this lower third I'm looking at, beating out Starfield, Cyberpunk 2077, Counter-Strike, and the Steam Deck. So is this a game for you?
I mean, okay, so Battlefield, it's one of those series that has been stale, I want to say, since probably like 3 or 4. And, with their last one, it completely was a bomb, total bomb on launch. Like you said, it probably isn't a bad game now, considering I'm sure they fixed things. But as I also said, like a game, when it doesn't meet expectations at launch, it's gonna be most likely kind of dead in the water. Even a year down the line, however long it takes for them to patch things, like they've already lost all the hype that everyone built up for it. So they're just fighting to get people back. It's the same thing with Cyberpunk. Like Cyberpunk went in and fixed all the bugs, or as much as they could, and brought a lot of people back with the animated show around the universe. But
Yep.
at the same time, like it's not going to ever be the same amount of people wanting to play that game as it was at launch, because that's where all the hype was.
Yeah,
And this game comes out and it doesn't have to meet any expectations, because they're just an indie developer, and they're, I'm sure, passionate about the game as well, because they want to make sure that it sells. Even though it's only $15, that $15 is going to go to them, more evenly, rather than a AAA company where the $60 or $70 now, it's going to go a little bit more spread out to the company. And I'm sure they did a good job with it, considering how much it's selling. And I'm sure that the $15 is a selling point to that too, because $15 versus $70.
We gotta support our indie game developers after a while. Like if we're gonna be continuously getting upset at the AAA games, continuously doing the BS with microtransactions, expansions, DLCs, not completing games, then guess what, fam? You got to start supporting some of these indie game developers so we can start getting them on the forefront, so they can start setting the tone for future gaming, in the future. But, I got to kind of swallow my pride a little bit, HenricK. I know I was teasing you about 2 weeks ago during our pause or repeat, when it came to the Tears of the Kingdom, right? And I don't know if you remember the comment that I said about the graphics and what I compared it to.
You called them mediocre.
I called it mediocre, and I called it Paper Mario. And and when I read this story and I saw how incredible, gamers were embracing this, it just really goes to show that, you don't have to have the most badass graphics to have a solid game. And this is clearly showing that right now. And if this hype continues, I'd love to see it be nominated in, the indie side of the Game Awards show for this upcoming 2023 show. But it's amazing. I can't wait to get my hands on it, HenricK. I'm not going to lie. It does look like something I think I might want to try out with the homies.
I mean, about the whole blocky thing, I mean, look at one of the biggest games ever, Minecraft. It's literally made of blocks.
I know. And trust me, to this day, it's not my style of game. It never is and never will be. I still don't quite understand the hype. But then again, who the hell cares about what I think? I mean, if gamers are all jumping onto this new thing and they like that stylized, pixelated artwork, hey, Free Willy, let's go with it. Rock and roll. But, hey, listen, I'll definitely be trying my luck on this game and having some fun. And I'll
And
let
I
the
think it's
people know
funny
it's
that
good.
this game is actually selling more than the pre-order for Starfield,
But,
considering all that backlash that got recently.
But that's actually a really, really good point. I'm glad that you actually referenced that right now, because clearly that we see here on the lower third, Starfield, it was in 7th place. And people are probably, God damn, that was like one of the big showcases. They had their whole Starfield Direct. That's a bit awkward, right? But then again, I got to remind you guys, Steam ranks by top sellers by revenue. And you have to remember, Starfield's going to be on day one going directly to the Xbox Game Pass. This is a move, in my opinion, to finally get Microsoft to feel like they got their foot in the door when it comes to the whole cloud gaming service. And so that's why I believe two different things. I believe the game's going to be good, but it's not going to be as good as what people think. If you like Fallout 4, I do. If you like Fallout New Vegas, you'll still embrace the game. But if anybody kind of comes in there, like we debated earlier about, during the past shows where, we're talking about the 30 frames per second, how that's an issue with combat playing, etc. And I debated with you, HenricK, going, I'm trying to tell you, HenricK, this game is not meant for that. It's meant to be a cinematic, atmospheric, very heavy dialogue, kind of enjoy the immersive world. And yeah, you're going to run into some combat, but it's not going to be like Call of Duty, 120 frames per second kind of style of game. So if you're expecting that, you're in for a world of shock, okay? You're in for a world of shock.
You made a good point yourself at some point in our conversation previously, where it was, if it's on the Game Pass day one, kind of a red flag a little bit. Like, what's going on there?
A big red flag, in my opinion. So, hey, we'll have to see what's good. We saw last time when they promised something just as big as something, powerful. Remember Fallout 76? They hyped that game up. Oh, this is our best one in the franchise. It's going to be the prequel to the Fallout. Holy moly, did we see what happened?
Yeah.
So, but then again, I am hoping for the best for that studio company. I really love the games that they develop and support them, and also support, again, BattleBit Remastered. It's on right now on the Steam platform. But man, wasn't that a badass show today, HenricK the Wreck?
No, absolutely. Some great topics from today. Great conversations to be had about all the stuff. Some in-depth, but also some at a surface level, and each are great, I'd say.
Absolutely. And, we are so blessed to have you gamers join us every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And while we got you still here right now, go ahead and hit the subscribe and the notification bell if you're on YouTube or Twitch, whether it's the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show, or HenricK the Wreck's YouTube channel or Twitch TV. Please, please, please show us some love and share it with one of your peers. This is the gaming show that was created for you. And also, I want to let you guys know that you guys got to check out HenricK the Wreck. So what is that URL that they could follow you at, HenricK?
So you can find me at HenricK the Wreck on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And then on Instagram, I'm just HenricK Rivera. But, I'm on all those platforms. I'll post things on there. And, just have fun, create conversations. And, that's the whole goal, is just let's talk.
Yeah, let's just talk. Let's have some fun. And we're going to be planning in the future, dropping a little bit even more micro content. So, yeah, you definitely want to be in the loop. Make sure you hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you never miss a live show. Well, thank you again, guys. We will see you next week. And peace out, fam.
See ya.